Welcome to the Kingdom Doers Podcast, the show where faith meets business, leadership, and coaching. We bring you inspiring conversations with business leaders, coaches, and ministry leaders who are making a difference in the marketplace and in ministry. Here we explore what it means to lead with purpose, build thriving businesses, serve faithfully, and navigate the intersection of faith and success. I'm your host, high performance mindset coach, Melissa Taylor. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Kingdom Doers Podcast. And today I have Ken Bogard from KnowHonesty.com, KNOW Honesty.com. Ken, thank you so much for being here. I was looking at your site and the first thing that I see is the cross. So that always gets my attention. Right? And I'd love to know what you do. So tell us what KnowHonesty.com is and how do you serve people?
Yeah, so we are really just helping people communicate better. And I think we have this God-given gift to communicate better than any species on this planet. Like you and I, we can have this rich conversation and we can go back and forth and you can tell me what you really need or want. And I could express my exact emotion or what I'm feeling, but I don't. We don't. We've really screwed up this gift, and it's doing a lot of bad things for people in their relationships, in their business. And so we're primarily focused on teams, organizations, and individuals who want to increase their ability in communication because it's fundamental to everything. Yeah. There's almost not a waking moment where we're not communicating in some way. And we're just noticing that it's really hurting in some pretty serious ways. And we're trying to swing that pendulum to the other side where we are humans who can masterfully communicate with one another.
Yeah, I love that. What you said is so important, that we have things we want to say when we don't say them. Why do you think that is?
There's 1,000 reasons. Yeah. There are 1,000 reasons. There are people that want to posture or be who they're not because they think that might appease the other human being, or they're scared to offend somebody, or they're not confident in how they feel. There's just so many reasons. And, at one point we have this book, No Honesty. And at one point we had this chapter and we threw the chapter out. The chapter was all the barriers to honesty and all the barriers to openness for people. And we wrote it and we tried to plug it into the book. And we're like, I don't know if we feel good about this negative approach to communication. And so we've really taken a much more positive approach to it and trying to get people focused on, well, be who you are. Yeah. And go after what you want and be true to yourself in many different ways. And then also the other side of it is trying to help people learn from other people. Can we listen to other people's honesty? And can we be open to what they're saying and what their perspectives are? There's so many reasons we're not honest and not open.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really complex subject. Obviously, psychology has thousands and hundreds of thousands of studies on this because it is so complex. Mm-hmm. And I love that you break it down into just it's real simplistic terms, of what it means to be honest. And I love the play on, you could tell me a little bit how you titled your book, because I love the play on the words, because even that can cause miscommunication, right? So it's almost like that's bringing to the point of why it's important to communicate. Tell me about the title and how you got that.
Yeah, I've never heard somebody ask it the way you have, and I love that you asked it. People are all the time saying to me, well, isn't that confusing with your title? And, what is... it's a little unclear. Well, it's a total play on words. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think what it causes is a conversation like this one, which is when I first started this idea about 9 years ago and was toying around with it, I was frustrated with the lack of honesty in the workplace. It's just so prevalent. And people with all these hidden agendas and nobody speaking clearly to one another. And it was just so frustrating to me. And I'm like, we got to combat this. And I'm like, I need something clever around this. And I don't think people know honesty and the full value it brings when we create an environment where everybody in that ecosystem can be fully honest without fear or retribution. Man, it's what a gift to give other human beings an environment where you be yourself, say what you need to. Well, we're going to have conversations about that. Doesn't mean it's right, or it doesn't mean you agree with those individuals, but you're just giving them a space to say where they're at or what they need or what they want. And then the richness comes from the dialogue.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love that. So how did you get to where you are? How did you get to this place in your career, in your business of developing this idea? Where did it start? What was the story that kind of sparked this?
Sure. So I am an EOS implementer, the entrepreneurial operating system. We chatted about it a while ago. Just this brilliant system that helps business owners and nonprofits really to get what they need or want out of their organization. And so I've been doing this for a long time. It's almost a decade now. And about 6 years ago, I was a little frustrated with my leadership teams. And I'm like, there's just something missing here, or we're not getting full engagement from the team. We'd show up that day, we'd go through the agenda, the objectives, and it's like they were walking through it like zombies, just trying to get through the day. And I'm like, something is missing. And so I saw these healthy rules posted on another EOS implementer's wall. Some of the rules: respect time, comfortable being uncomfortable, participate's a privilege to be here, no politics. There's a whole list.
Mm,
It said be open and honest.
mm.
And then I found myself distracted that whole day sitting in that room thinking, that's it. Like,
Wow.
that is what's missing in this room. These leaders are not being two things:
Mhm,
100% honest and 100% open. And I really explored the idea of separating those two concepts,
mm,
because in our nation, we throw around open and honest all the time.
mhm.
I think people go right to, all right, I'm ready to be honest with you. But we don't give any credence to what openness means, or what does open actually mean. And if you look it up, I mean, it's like opening the door. So can
Yeah.
you start having dialogue where everybody is 100% honest, truly and freely themselves, speaking into what they want and how they feel? But here's the second half of the equation, Melissa. This is the most important part of the book. Everybody loves honesty and talking about honesty, but the other half of the equation is this openness side. And what
Mm,
that is to listen without reservation, to put our needs and wants on pause for the person across from us.
yeah.
And I think naturally, because you're doing this podcast and all your other gifts that you have, you get this. And
Mhm.
right. And this is why we click over this topic.
Yeah.
But openness is what's missing. And so when I realized that, every morning when I had my clients come in, I would teach them the healthy rules, and I would really push hard on honesty and openness. And I say, hey, I expect you to be these two things. And what it did for that room, it totally changed it. They snapped out of being zombies, and they're like, okay, we're gonna be our courageous selves. We're gonna get really good at listening to one another and really becoming a highly functioning team. And
Yeah.
from there, from the last 6 years, I've really pressed on this topic. Now we have a book, we have workshops, we have all these other things we're doing.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that story. And it's like, it is something that is so important, yet so it's talked about, but not really practiced and applied, especially in organizations and in business a lot of times. And it's interesting. My husband and I literally had a conversation about this last night. So the timing of this conversation is amazing because we were just talking about how he's managed a lot of sales teams. And, a lot of what we do in every business is sales. And we were talking about the importance of just being honest because you're building trust with that honesty. But so many companies, businesses, salespeople, they're constantly over promising, under delivering, and they just want to get the sale. But then in the end, it just leaves people with feeling frustrated, mistrustful, and it's like, what's the goal here? Don't you want to build something that you're creating connection with your clients and with your customers? But it's just amazing. We were just talking about, like, what is that about? Why do so many people do that when it's actually better to be honest because that builds the trust, right?
100%. I don't know why used car salespeople get a bad rap, right? For whatever reason, that's just in the dialogue when it comes to sales.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is because people have been wronged in sales so many times,
Mm-hmm.
or they meet somebody and they get a ick feel
Yeah.
because they don't know what it is, but there's this feeling of a hidden agenda or something behind it all. And you just didn't like that experience. But then
Mm-hmm.
when you meet somebody, and there are some brilliant used car salespeople who are totally bought into what they do. They're
Yeah.
transparent, they're authentic, and they sell really well. It's
Yes.
are fake, and they don't really believe in what they're doing. I mean, it's really hard. And
Yeah.
so it's not really sales when you believe in the product and you're passionate about it. You
Hmm.
connect with it in different ways. And so there's something. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that conversation with you. And
I know. Maybe we'll have to have a part two with him
oh
involved.
yeah,
So yeah,
let's
have
do
a
it.
whole hour. Okay, we'll do that. So with that being said, what would be the number one? I mean, I know there's probably multi steps and facets of what you do and how to coach people to be more honest and open in their work. But if somebody's coming in for the very first time and they realize, wow, I really haven't been okay with being open and honest with others in my work, in my leadership, with my clients, etc., what would be like the first step that you would tell somebody in order to lean more into that direction and kind of let go of this whole facade of not of just being dishonest, I guess is the word.
Right. I would tell them, I mean, you could get a professional, you can hire coaches, you can get our company and you could do all that.
Yeah.
But you don't really need all that. I
Mm,
mean, I think the easier approach to this are there's really two things. Get the book No Honesty. So it's
yeah.
in Audible or it's in on Amazon and read it. But
Mhm.
I would say don't read it alone.
Mm,
Read it with a trusted person in your life
mhm,
and talk about why do we engage in a conversation and talk about why do we struggle being fully honest with one
mhm,
another and why do we struggle being fully open with one another. Those are the two most important questions you can ask because there's
yeah.
some barriers there to remove and then
Mm,
start leaning into this honesty and this openness. But reading the book with somebody is probably the best way to do it. And then we also have an assessment online. It's free right now. We're
uh-huh.
probably going to start charging for it at some
Okay.
point, maybe in 6 months to a year. But it's free and it gives you a score on how
Mm.
honest you are and how open you are.
Oh,
When I
nice.
started telling business owners this, they were salivating at the idea of data to tell them where people stand and they could
Yeah.
use that. And, people who love their facts. It's a really great tool, but it will tell you how honest you are in your work life and in your personal life, how
Mm,
open you are in your work life and personal life. And what's interesting about your results is you're going to realize you have deficits in some areas or you're excelling in others. And you're like, whoa, what's going on in my home life that I am way less honest here than I am at work?
mm,
And it's awesome to explore that question. I mean, there's a lot in that, but
yeah.
to just have awareness of where maybe you're struggling, the tool really helps you do that. And then I
Mm,
would say again, have one of your most trusted people in your life take it, go
mhm,
engage in a conversation, go to a restaurant, grab coffee or tea, and just explore what it means to be more honest and open. Because it's
yeah.
one of the most freeing gifts you can give another human being is to allow them to be fully themselves,
Mhm,
and then teach them how important openness is because that really helps relinquish control in your life. We're always
mhm.
trying to control everything. And
Yeah.
let go and just embrace the human being that's in front of you. Man, is that
Mm.
freeing?
That's amazing. I'd love to take that assessment. And one of the things that we have to do when we take that assessment is be honest with ourselves, right? Be
Yes.
honest. And I feel like a lot of times, the people that we're lying to so much is really ourselves.
Mm.
It's telling ourselves these lies. I was just doing a weight loss coaching program, mindset coaching program that we just completed. I was doing this with another personal trainer. And one of the things that I was bringing up in these calls was being honest with yourself. Because so much of the times, people are like, oh yeah, I eat healthy. I work out, I exercise. And then they start writing exactly what they do down and realize it's nothing of what their impression is in their mind. But it's like we tell ourselves these lies, which keeps us from growth and keeps us from actually achieving the things that God wants us to achieve because we can't actually be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, that's good. My wife's a physical therapist.
Uh-huh.
Hope she's okay with this. I'm putting it out there. But
Uh-huh.
she often talks about trying to work with patients and how important it is that they're doing exactly what you said.
Mm,
And when you engage with another human being, how important it is that you create a space that is totally safe. And
yeah.
unfortunately, like safe space has become a buzzword. And I don't know, for some reason, people don't want to talk about it. And well, what is more important than a safe space in all your relationships?
Yeah.
And really, and when it's safe, there's so much more freedom to have deeper dialogue, to go deep on different subjects, uh,
Mhm.
difficult topics like religion and politics. And that
Mhm.
stuff gets so heightened so quick. And a lot of times it becomes unsafe quickly. And we're just trying to create the safest place. And so for her and her patients, she
Mm.
has this ease and this calm and confidence about her that allows them to feel safe to tell her
Mhm.
what's really going on so she can better diagnose. And,
Nice.
there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a really great point is how we actually present to allow people to feel safe enough to be open and honest with us as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of pivoting, toward this faith aspect and honesty, integrity is so important in our faith. And how do you, I don't, do you normally or usually work with faith-based clients, or is it also secular? And if so, and just in whatever aspect that you work, how does faith influence the way that you work with other people?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And not one that I think about enough.
Mm,
Challenging myself thinking about that. Because
mhm.
that can help about any human being get what they really want out of life.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a gift for that. I don't know how to describe it other than like I know how to talk through these issues and
Mm,
eliminate barriers and help you get what you want. And the
mm,
question that's been plaguing me lately is, well, what does God want from this?
mm.
And that's next level. And I haven't
Yeah.
reached that level yet, but I'm
Mm,
certainly thinking about it. When I wrote the book, No Honesty, I didn't want it to be a religious book,
mhm,
but I put pieces of God in there, or
mm.
this God-given communication, this world designed for 8 billion people,
Mhm,
just different pieces. So I could not put somebody off if they don't have faith, but
yeah,
maybe they would be open to the idea. Okay, that's an interesting concept that this world is designed for 8 billion people. So I do
mhm,
try to find ways to plug it in.
mm,
And I'm not one to hide my faith.
yeah,
I have 30 active clients right now. I would say 70% of them are pretty open amongst their whole leadership team to admit that they have faith,
mm,
and others, they just don't go there.
yeah,
But occasionally, that topic might creep in, and
yeah,
I just don't hide it, but I also
mm,
don't push it,
mhm,
and unless somebody wants to go there. Now, if they want to
right,
go there, that's a total invite
yeah,
to explore something much more deep than this physical world that we're in, and to
mhm,
explore that next level spiritual life. And that's something special. And
mm,
that happens from time to time. I think because they realize there is a safe space, and I am so open to talking about nearly anything,
yeah,
that we can go there.
yeah. I really like that a lot. And it's interesting when, we are open with our faith. We're not being, those pushy people about it, but we're just like, hey, this is my faith. We talk about God openly and what God is doing in our lives. And it's amazing those who are not believers. It's amazing how when they need prayer, all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I know you're a believer, God. Like, can you pray for me?" And to me, those are the most amazing moments when you're like, wow, somebody even, that's faith the size of a mustard seed, right? To have
Yeah.
just enough faith to go, hey, somebody can pray for me, or, like maybe there is a God. And just the fact that you present as a great witness is that in itself is just amazing how people can reach God just through the way that you just present and show up in the world and are not hiding your faith, but that they can think of you when they need it.
Right. And we talk about this thing called the agreement.
Mhm.
But I just give you one of the tools in the book, and just
Yeah, I love that.
if nobody picks up the book, fine. Then
Mhm.
take this tool that I'm sharing with you right now and use it.
Okay.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because I can think of some of the different faith-based conversations that I've had, or I'm speaking with somebody who does not believe in God,
Mhm.
and I tell them the agreement. And here's what the agreement is. And I use it for so many different things.
Okay.
So I'll just use Melissa as an example. And so I'm sitting down with him like, hey, Melissa, I know we're sitting down, we're talking about a pretty heavy topic. And here's what's really important to me that you do is I just want you to be really honest. I want you
Mm,
to be truly and freely yourself, speaking of what you want and how you feel about any of it. And I promise you, I will be 100% open to you. I will
mm,
listen to you without reservation. I will put my needs and wants on pause for you. I promise you.
mm.
Here's the deal though. I'm going to be honest back at you. And I ask that you be open to me. And then we just explore this topic back and forth like that. And then
Mhm.
whatever way we go after this conversation, fine. But let's at least give each other enough respect to allow the other person to be totally heard.
Yeah. Wow,
And
I
then
like
you do
that.
that, and then you engage, and it's so much richer. And it's like people can go deep immediately because of it. When you
Yeah.
don't set it up that way, we haven't really agreed how we're going to communicate about this thing. So
Mhm.
people tend to get a little defensive, or they come at you a little bit sharp with a sword, and then
Mhm.
it becomes an unsafe thing and it breaks down. And now I don't know, we're not connecting anymore. We're not trying to figure this thing out together. And so
Mhm.
that agreement, I call it the agreement, it's just a powerful tool to go deeper, quicker with the people that you're with.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. I like just even that statement, the agreement, let's have the agreement. It's like that my husband and I have done something similar where, if one of us has something to share, we'll say, "Can I share something with you?" And can I share it and you don't get defensive and argumentative? And that automatically it's like you're setting the tone for the conversation. It works every time because he'll say, "Okay," and then he'll actually listen. And but what you're saying is also the opposite on the other end too. We also have to mutually, agree to that. Okay, I will as well.
Right. Oh yeah, my wife loves to I've authored this book with Grace, and my wife Ilsa, she loves to be like, "Hey, you're not being real open right now." And I'm like, "You're right. I'm not. I'm gonna work on it. Okay, all right, let's go. What do you got?" It just
Wow.
level sets you. And
Yeah.
so, being used in our home frequently.
That's great. I think our spouses can be our best accountability partners. Call us
100%.
out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm so grateful for everything that you've shared, Ken, and I'm definitely going to check out this book. Definitely want to guide our audience to find you. So, where can they find you, and who should be looking for you?
Where can they find us? Amazon, you'll find the book, No Honesty, KNOW Honesty. You can go to nohonesty.com and you can click to take the pursuit of honesty, and you'll get your results emailed to you. Those are the two main places. And who should be doing it is anybody who is intrigued right now.
Mm,
There's just a reason you're intrigued, and just go explore it and see what it could really mean for you. And some of the most rewarding things for us, for Grace and myself, is when somebody who we don't know picks it up and they're highlighting it, and they'll do a post about it, or they'll reach out to us and they'll just tell us what it's done for their life. And
mm,
it's that's what we want. That's why we do what we do, is for
mm.
moments like that.
Wow, that's great. Well, check out knowhonesty.com as in to know it, right? And KNOW, knowhonesty.com. Take the assessment. I'm definitely going to take that assessment and also invite my husband to take that with me too. I think that's going to be a great conversation. And we're going to touch base with you on how that goes as
Right.
well. Yeah. So knowhonesty.com and check out the book. And thank you again, Ken. May you be blessed in everything that you do.
Thank you. Thanks for this rich, meaningful time together. Awesome to get to know you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Kingdom Doers podcast. If you're ready to bring transformational impact to your audience at your next event or master faith-based mindset hacks for success, visit kingdomdoer.com. There you'll also get your free guide on how to break through emotional barriers for greater impact and success in the marketplace. Again, visit kingdomdoer.com. That's kingdomdoer.com. And remember, you've got this and God's got you.